Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Gaines Preserve Garden. We are the middle of August. I think today's like the 20th, maybe. Anyways, it's been a while since I've done a video of the garden, and I just figured I'd check in and let everybody see where we're at. So we do have some watermelons over here that are almost ready. They have been really slow with the dry spell that we had, but now we've had some rain. Anyways, they're coming along, and we've got some beans. These are black beans. You can see they're starting to get dry. They're almost ready to pull. Roosters in the back. And then one of the things I do definitely want to talk about is this right here, and I'll zoom in. This is called a zucchino. It's a variety of squash. If anybody wants, send me a message and I will take a picture of the seed packet so you can see it. This is our first year growing it, and I would highly recommend this to anybody. If you have a problem with vine borers, which we do here, or anything else, blossom rot, or just it not getting started, or not producing, or whatever, any variety of issues. For example, like this little dead spot, that was a spaghetti squash, and it did not, we got a bunch of spaghetti squash, but it died out. This zucchino, on the other hand, it looks like this. It's a little kind of round, some other friend called it a rattlesnake squash. They get a little bit bigger than this, probably 2 or 3 times this size, and you can pick while they're still green. And it's a variety that's like a summer squash. Or you can let it dry on the vine, and apparently, we will find out this year, eat it like a winter squash. And so let me get, like I said, this is all one. It has just spread, and it's really vigorous, and it's done a great job, and it's just been a super cool one to grow this year. So if you are looking for something and you're looking for a seed packet and you're thinking you want to do a garden next year, zucchino. All right, so here is one of the bigger ones. So you can see it gets much larger, and it will turn a light brown, and then we will pick it and keep that one as a winter squash to try. And then here's one that'll probably be ready tomorrow. That's the smaller one. And here's another one, maybe a day or two out. So anyways, highly recommend this variety. It is super tasty. The kids eat it. I can't keep enough of it in the house. They just eat it. So anyways, there's that. And we've got a zinnia. Here's some more watermelon. This is I think it's called like a moon and star, if I remember correctly. You can see they're about ready. Some honeydew melon right here. This only produced a couple for us. We've picked one, there's 2 more. So that's super exciting. There's some zucchinos, some tomatoes, and a couple of the spaghetti squashes that don't look super healthy. They fizzled out on us. Poblanos, tomatoes up behind that. And our tomatoes this year have done okay. They're really big, but I think they're just starting to hit their stride with production. So we're glad to see that. Here's a pepper. Some more zinnias. This was our cucumber patch. It has fizzled. So there's just a couple more, and they got really bitter. So if you've had that happen, when it gets hot and dry, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just hot and dry. And then we'll walk on through here. So here's some more tomatoes. And again, it's not producing a ton this year. It's not like we've had in the past, but I think they're just hitting their stride. So you can see it's really big. It started here. It's gone up and over the awning. And just, I'll zoom back for this too. This is kind of, anyways, the tomato on the right there got huge this year, and so we had to put a cattle panel as an arch just to catch it, and we're training the one on the left to do the same so that we can continue to harvest without them flopping. Let's see, here's a couple of butterflies enjoying the zinnias. We've had a ton of butterflies this year. They've been really fun to just have floating around the garden. All right, and then we're gonna go here. This is our butternut. I wanted to share something fun with the butternut this year too. So right here is where our first harvest was. And so they grew, and they grew nicely, and they turned nice brown, and I picked them. But what I was really careful to do was not step on any of the vines, and I also let it re-root. So a lot of times people will grow them like up a trellis, and I just really feel like they do better when they can root in the ground. So I left them. And when I did that this year, here is where I have like a second round. And you can see I've got a couple that are almost brown. Okay, so if you can imagine, this spot looked completely dead. This spot was bright green. Now it's dying back, and the butternuts that are there are almost ready. But we've had a beautiful another round of rain, and so now it looks like I'm going to get a third wave of butternut squash harvest. So this is the first year we've had something like this happen. Every other year something's gotten it, it's died out, I don't know, stepped on it, pulled it out on accident, whatever. But this year as an experiment, I really was trying to be careful, and it's really cool. So we're going to get 3 rounds of harvest off of this butternut. So if you ever want to try it. Sunflowers. Okay. And another trick, the marigolds, if you plant marigolds and basil with your tomatoes, really helps with the bug population. So you can see I've got some basil in here and some marigolds up under the tomatoes, and it really helps our tomatoes stay healthier. So there you go. Here is our sweet potato patch that we will harvest right before fall, or I'm sorry, right before the first frost. So that is doing well. This was some beans that have dried out, and I've got some new ones starting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these little guys go, and I'll pull them as green beans. So it's a black bean plant. I'll harvest them as green beans when they're fresh, and I don't think I'll get another round of black beans, but they reseeded themselves, so we're going to let them do their thing. All right. Here's more marigolds. And then here was a second round of zucchinis that I've planted. And if I can zoom in here enough, it looks like we're going to get some. So these plants are a few weeks old. And I just, wanted to do another round this year because our first ones got eaten by the vine borers. Okay, and here's okra. If you have never grown purple okra, I really enjoy it a lot compared to regular okra. Okay, there's our sweet olive. There's the hydrangea. You can see it's drying out. And then all this was the bee balm that was really pretty and red earlier this year. It has dried out, but it will reseed and be here again next spring. This is another variety that we love. This is called a lemon squash, and they are right there. And this is another variety of squash that we have found does really well with heat and vine borers and bugs. So this is, I think it was 2 plants maybe that I started right there. And it has spread all around here and gone back up, and it's going out the other way. So this is another variety of the summer squash that we like a lot more than just your regular yellow squash. Couple pretty flowers, some more tomatoes. Again, we kind of had to jerry-rig some stuff this year because they were growing really tall on us. So you can see here we kind of had to take a couple cattle panels and smash them together to keep them tall, and then the ones over here I'm training over to that. Over here, earlier this year, there was tons of beans. And if anybody was watching any of the videos earlier, at one point I had a squash variety that I thought was pumpkin that basically covered this black tarp. Well, what happened was it was a cross between this right here, which is a Tennessee spinning gourd that we had last year, and something that Opaque was mislabeled. It was kind of looks like this. It's a honey boat. Anyways, when I went to pick the first round from that harvest, it was the shape of a honey boat, but there was like almost no flesh, and it was rock hard. So it was not anything we were going to be able to eat. So I pulled up all of this space that was a beautiful, what I thought was going to be produce, but it was not. So just so you know, cross-pollination can happen. Watch out. We have failures here every year, and that was one of them. So these are some of the Tennessee spinning gourds from last year that are going to have to go somewhere else, probably the burn pit. But, oh yeah, let me share this too. If you guys have this is morning glory, and every time it rains, I don't know if you guys can see this on the video, all those little green seedlings end up needing to get pulled. We have so many of them this year. I'm so tired of seeing morning glories. They need to be done. I don't know how I have this many, but I do. So thank goodness they're really easy to weed, but here they are, more and more and more morning glories every time it rains. All right, but we did plant some more. This is butternut in place of the honey boats. And so hopefully we'll get another round of harvest from the butternuts. I'm gonna go over here. And over here I did some more lemon squash. And there's a few beets that were from an earlier planting, and a carrot that's from an earlier planting over here. Over here I've got a few carrots that are surviving. I planted them and then we had the drought, so almost none of them came up. More morning glory, and then there's some beans that are getting started that we'll let those go. And then back here was the sunflowers that have now been harvested, and we had some beans on the ground, and a couple of those have reseeded, so I've let them do that, and I've put some Brussels sprouts in the ground. We'll see if they come up. Here is our asparagus patch. And then it's just a little bit more bean that was remnant from earlier. And then the end of our carrots. And our carrots right now I'm sharing with caterpillars. I don't know if I can find any. But anyways, they're turning into the butterflies. We're sharing. The carrots are pretty much done, so they're getting the greens. And I'll just harvest the carrots. We'll walk around and I'll see if there's anything else to show you guys in the garden right now. Green onions are still doing their thing, and there of course is the rosemary patch that just is huge. So another view of the okra. There's some comfrey, there's some gardenias, of course the nasturtiums. So anyways, here's an update on what our garden looks like mid-August. Just kind of to drive the point home, this is back to Eden gardening. This I do not water, I do not babysit, other than pulling the blasted morning glories and harvesting this time of year. That's it. Just come out here, harvest what I want, put more seeds in, and then leave it alone. So if you are looking for a type of gardening to do next year, I highly recommend looking into back to Eden gardening and starting to get set up. Really the fall is the best time to get kind of the plan going for that. So anyways, hope everybody's having a great day, a great August. And if you've got questions, please shoot any questions you've got our way. Love to hear from you, and happy gardening.